Welcome back to the show. I'm Chad, and today we are talking with Shane Moore, who's been on the show before, and I've worked with him on a local Comic Con, and he's a great guy. So let me bring him in. Let's find out what he's been up to and find out more about his current project. Hey Shane, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while.
Um, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while either. I know we both go to the same local show, and I wasn't able to make it to the last one.
Oh no, what all?
No, so but before we get into talking about your Kickstarter,
Okay.
I know that for people who maybe haven't seen one of our interviews, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history as a comic book reader and creator.
Okay. Um. So I guess like Chad, it starts out. I'm originally from West Virginia. Uh.
I'm sorry, we got out.
Um. I grew up there. I went to school. I was a comic book fan probably since eighth grade, 1988 ish. Um. I knew that that's at that point like what I wanted to do. I met some friends in college. We worked on comics together. I went to finish school and then eventually went off to graduate school for painting. And after that was done, I decided that what I wanted to dedicate my life to was making comic books. So I, I rediscovered that, and I worked on a book previous to the one that I'm doing now that's been finished for about 2 years, the graphic novel. It's called The Omens. Since then, I have decided to write and draw my own story. So this is everything. It's like 100% what I've worked on.
So, do you remember maybe the first comics that you read, or maybe the one that kind of made you want to read more and get into this crazy business?
Well, I always loved superhero comics. At first, I loved. I had comics as a kid, but when I saw the first Batman movie, that's when I was old enough to like go to the comics I had at the time and um, really kind of like read them and like understand them better.
Hmm.
So I mean, the earliest books that I had were mostly Batman. I think the very first comic book that I bought was after seeing that movie was like the first Tim Drake Robin.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, like I was like halfway through the story, but it was like right when he went to his house and like he had put it together that
I
Bruce
think
Wayne
that
was
was
Batman.
wasn't that either was it Year Three or A Lonely Place of Dying?
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah.
And I remember like trying to find those, but like half of them were Teen Titans books, and I didn't have a comic book store, so those were all direct to comic book stores, and I kind of like get the newsprint stuff, so I was only reading half the story. But I never,
Okay, so let's talk about your latest project that you're currently funding on Kickstarter. I think I remember it's called Her Name is Lady. Is that correct?
uh, the book is called My Name Is Lady.
My name is Lady. I don't know why I got mixed up. I'm sorry.
No, I like the working title forever was Lady, um, and it was suggested to me that it can't just be the name of the character, so I went with that, and I think it'll be it's a book a little bit about identity and like growing old, taking care of family members and things like that. So, but also told through the realm of the superhero. Um, so there's a little bit of that. Um,
So I was going to say, tell us a little bit more about the characters and maybe the inspirations behind the book.
Oh, okay. Well, the name. I have a dog named Lady, and she's about 12 years old. And probably about 12 years ago, I had this idea about there seems to be like a female equivalent to every male superhero, and that was kind of a trend. And like Batgirl, Supergirl, that type of thing. And I wanted to tell a story about a family of strong women because I have strong women in my family, and I certainly married into a family of strong women, including my wife. Um, and I just wanted, I'm losing my train of thought here. I wanted there to be a hero with the name Lady that's not based off of a version of some man. Um, and that's kind of where that went. And at the same time, it's a little bit about, uh, without giving too much away, um, like kind of passing the mantle, and at the same time dealing with like growing old and having to take care of somebody who is growing old.
Hmm. I think a lot of people can relate to that. I mean, because we all have, parents who are getting older and need extra care and
Sure.
things like that.
Yeah, my mom's probably watching this now, but it's not. This isn't about you, mom.
So, tell us a little bit about, the main character and some of the supporting characters that are in the book.
Um, so this is the cover. I don't have the actual book yet. This is what I had at the convention. It's like put together. So the main character's name is Laura, uh, and she is the granddaughter of this woman. Her name's Lillian, and um, I'm gonna give too much away, but Lillian is a former retired superhero who passes on the mantle to the granddaughter. Um,
Okay.
a lot of things happen in between that, but I don't want to say too much. So it has to deal a lot between this relationship between the grandmother and her adult granddaughter. And she kind of is going through a transition. She wants to be closer to her family, and in doing so, ends up becoming kind of like a caretaker for this grandmother who maybe doesn't need somebody to take care of her, uh, because she has superpowers.
Hmm.
And we learn that all along the way. She has no idea, so that's kind of like a bigger reveal in the first issue. And a lot, this sounds like too serious of a topic, that there's hijinks along the way too. I promise. Uh, the first issue, which I'm in the middle of finishing, I have maybe 5 pages left to do coloring, and the first issue is a lot of what is this person's name? How does this person know that person? Uh,
Hmm.
I'm hoping for some more action from the
So,
writer, which is me.
so you mentioned that this is your first project that you're working on doing everything. Um, how is that, different, or what's different about this project, say compared to Omens, where working with other creators?
Um, well, to use the omens for an example, that was 6 issues, and the first issue we did was completely Larry, my friend Larry, who wrote it. He he did the thumbnails, and he had the story, and he had thumbnails, and I just drew based off of his thumbnails. And then when we did the second issue, it was kind of plotted out. And then I started fresh. But then once it got into the rest of the issues, we kind of like worked on the story together. I kind of told him what elements, or we worked on what elements I wanted to draw, or how the direction we were kind of seeing to go. And then he would do script, and then I would do or a general script. You know, the main difference for me is this time it's hard. It is hard to write, like when you're going as an artist first. I always concern myself with am I using enough words? Is everybody speaking like too plainly? But also I'm like very concerned about like how many words are actually on each page. You know, like there were a couple pages in the Omens where like I thought I drew something really nice, and maybe I did, and then there were like 10 word balloons, you know, covering things up. So you know, I have to keep up with that. It is I learned a lot from this issue, as far as like pacing and how I, you know, I will have in my head how I want things to look, but then when you have to kind of like work, you know, the word balloons at the same time, it's a challenge. But making comics is a challenge. So
Now, you know, in your art and writing, who, you know, would you say your influences are, you know, from the comic world or, you know,
uh,
the literature world at large?
um, I don't. I mean, influences. I don't like artistically. I don't um, try to look like anybody or emulate anybody. Like,
Right.
but I do have a tendency to prefer, like, this is hard to describe it, like a simplistic style. I think my
Yeah.
artwork's very basic, and
Hmm.
I really like looking at an artist whose work just seems so simple, but like the more you look at it, it's like Mike Magnolia. Uh, nobody could ever do that. Like you know, I
Hmm.
could never make something look like him, but like every time I look at his work, I'm like blown away.
Yeah.
And he's drawing a picture of the Jelly Green Giant or Snap Crackle and Pop. Uh, I love Guy Davies is the same way. Um, when I was a kid, I always loved John Byrne,
Hmm.
uh, art and writing. Uh, who else? All the '90s guys. I saw some some Eric Larson thumbnails on Facebook the other day. And I was like, I mean, I know that guy can draw, but like the thumbnails were like real simple. And I look at my own thumbnails, like I barely thumbnail anything before I go on and finish it. It'd be kind of just a couple scribbles, but
So, kind of, I guess, jumping off that thought, do you work digitally or pen paper and then scan and then, or
uh,
how?
I mean,
What's your method?
currently now everything's digital. I've done
Hmm.
uh, everything is on my iPad, and this is on a Sketchboard Pro, which makes it look fancier than an iPad, but it actually is just an iPad. When I started the Omens in 2010, that was all paper,
Hmm.
and I was scanning that in. And then halfway through the second issue, I converted to digital on the computer. And 2020, I've had the iPad since, so I haven't been like tethered to the computer. I can draw wherever, um, on the couch or on vacation. you
Hmm.
know, taking the car if I have to.
Wherever inspiration strikes.
Right. Or if I'm at a convention, um, and nobody wants to buy any comics, at least I can draw something.
So, kind of focusing now on the Kickstarter. What you know uh, rewards are you offering?
I tried my best to keep it as simple as possible, uh, but we do have technically three covers. I know that's a Kickstarter trend is having like multiple covers. I've never done anything like that before. I had a good friend that wanted to. Oh, this one. My friend Brian contacted me one day and said, "I want to draw a cover," and I was like, "Absolutely." And this is I don't know if this is like a giant size X-Men like
Hmm.
homage. Um, so you can get the main cover, which I drew, the Brian Reddy cover, and then I'm also going to do a sketch cover. So, so it's just all the tiers are a variation of each one, um, or you can get both covers, like both drawn covers, or all three. I didn't want to get into a lot of what are those called, push goals, or
Hmm.
uh, Kickstarter has a lot of everybody has their clothes on.
Add-ons. Oh yeah, a lot of those these days. Um,
A lot.
so I know you've done campaigns before. Is is there anything that you're seeing different? Because I believe you're already funded. Is that correct?
Yes, we are. I don't. I mean, I was. I, I kept my goal obtainable, and the printing is going to be done like kind of um, digital or print on demand. So you know, the amount of money that I make, that's how many comics I'm going to print.
Hmm.
But yeah, um, we made our goal in 4 5 days, something like that. It was like right before
Nice.
New Year's Eve, and we had our money by Monday morning. So,
Mm.
and we're currently experiencing a lull, uh, a Kickstarter lull. So I want to extend everybody a thanks to everybody that contributed, whether you did a reward or not, but also the people that haven't. Uh, think of this as like a web store or pre-order. You know, like I have my money to make the comic, but you can still buy the comic, and I'll make more comics, and I'll have more comics. So you
Mhm.
know, please feel free to get them now. Like just because it's funded, don't don't text me the day after saying save me one because I'm not gonna save you one. Uh,
Well, there goes my plan.
no, you're doing your part. The podcast will promote it, and everybody go to Kickstarter.
So,
I'll chat
I'm
with you
sorry.
later.
Um, is this the first issue of a series, or is it a complete graphic novel? I don't know if we mentioned that or if you said that and I just missed it.
I haven't. I had thought of this as a 6 issue story, but also if I get to 6 issues and people are buying them, I'll make more.
Hmm.
Also, I'm considering this to be almost like a preview book, so that I'll be able to promote it. Like, again, if number one is successful, I am going to make number two, but the question is, am I going to make singles or floppies of all of the issues, or am I going to go straight to graphic novel and
Hmm.
have the preview book as something to talk about at conventions? So I probably will do single issues,
Hmm.
just because like if I'm doing them in chapters that can be produced as issues, uh, by the time they're done, I want to see them hopefully as bad as, if not more, as people that that want to buy them. So
Right. So, is there anything else about the series or book that maybe you wanted to mention that maybe we didn't haven't talked about yet?
uh, well, if you're familiar with my work, everything I've done so far is black and white, and
Hmm.
that is not just an aesthetic but a financial choice. um, Also, like painting in color like was not in the budget. uh, but nearing the ending of the Omens, I kind of said publicly to the guys I was working with that when this was done, the next issue I want to do in color, and this book is in all color. So, and
How's that experience? I assume you're coloring it too.
I am coloring it too. So like what flatting is, where
Hmm.
yeah, now I paid somebody to do the flats, uh, which is like just the base color, and then you
Hmm.
kind of make your adjustments and then render. Uh, and I I have done some color work before, but not really uh, anything that I was 100% in love with or efficient at. So I've learned a lot about coloring. So far, uh, it's like drawing the page all over again. you know, I do like it, but like, man, if somebody out there wants a color comic book, I give me a call. And I mean, I feel like I got done with the inking. This book, has kind of been on its own timeline, and I got done with the inking in like June, and just now finishing colors. But uh, it takes a little while, but I'm also learning at the same time, and I also have a lot of other stuff going on. So
No, I understand that. And I, so, kind of, what's your favorite part about doing the colors, and what's your least favorite part?
well, I do like how much I've learned about it.
Hmm.
Um, and the color, like, it's workable colors. It's like my work is like very basic. It's not where
Hmm.
you're not like, it's not going to be like a 90s image comic.
Hmm.
It's a workable color. I do enjoy like the learning of it. I kind of started in the middle and worked my way to the back, so that the better colors will be in the front of the book. Um, but uh, I don't know. Like, color is never. I haven't really had to do anything with it for over 10 years. I do enjoy the challenge of it. So you know, I will complain endlessly about it, but also probably if somebody wanted to color it, maybe I would be a little bit afraid to give up
Uh,
that control too.
it sounds like like you said, you're pushing yourself to learn something new, and you know,
Yeah,
the more you do it, the better you'll and more comfortable you'll be with it.
right. Yeah, agreed.
Um, so, besides the Kickstarter, where can people find more of your work and more about you?
Uh, okay. If you go to our website, it's electromagneticpress.com. If you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can find me on emp.comics or EMP Comics NY, because Mark stole EMP Comics on TikTok from me. Mark is like one editor, one of the West Virginia guys. I'm just kidding. We're also on Facebook at Electromagnetic Press. If you're in the Albany area, Capital Region, come to an Albany Comic Con. You'll find me there. I try to do as many little conventions around as possible. Uh, where else? If you like to draw, on Tuesdays I host a sketch club at the Union College. It's called the Union College Sketch Club. You can look that up on Facebook. It's every Tuesday from 6:30 to 9 when Union College is in session. So uh, if you
Nice.
if you like Halloween products, I work on the website for thecostumer.com. And if you go to the store, like you might see a drawing that I drew on a sticker or a poster or something like that.
Nice. Well, I wish you continued success on the Kickstarter this time, and we'll definitely continue to follow it on our weekly roundup of the crowdfunding over on Comic Watch. And hopefully soon we'll both be able to make it to a show and catch up in person.
Yeah, I'd like that. That sounds great.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much, and we'll definitely keep in touch. And whenever you have something else coming down the line, we'll do this again.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Bye, everybody.